Keep it gay, keep it light, keep it fresh, keep it fair. Let it bloom every night. Give it room. Never stand still. Keep your love a lovely dream and never wake it. Come on, Mike. Keep it gay, keep it gay, keep it gay. Keep it gay, keep it gay, keep it gay.
Good evening and welcome to another virtual celebration brought to you by your friends here at, now say it with me, GAAYS in Space. Tonight, we're joined by a fan-favorite duo. Chances are you've enjoyed their panel discussions at conventions and you may even have sung karaoke alongside them. But tonight, they're here to answer your questions and help you win some fabulous prizes. From Star Trek Enterprise, Connor TRINNEER and DOMINIC KEATING are with us. Plus, a brand new Trek-inspired musical duet performed by Kira Knotts and Nathan Bonk. Now, please welcome your host, Dan D.
Hello, everyone. Can I just say right off the bat, two things I never get tired of. One, watching William Shatner sing Keep It Gay. And two, listening to my friend Mike Sargent with the greatest radio voice ever say my name. So this is always such a treat. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's Saturday night here. GAAYS in Space is coming to you from the center of Manhattan, which is still a very weird place, in case you were, wondering. But we are so happy to be here, and we have two of the most fun Star Trek actors that you could ever want to hang out with. Go to conventions. These are the guys you want to accidentally bump into at the bar. Let's all say hello to Connor TRINNEER and DOMINIC KEATING. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Now, I kind of feel like, Connor, you are ready to let's just let at least one Yahoo out.
Woohoo! Woo!
Yeah. That's
Is
how
he
you
going
start
to
an
get
event.
off-tied by the end of the evening?
What?
Well, if we were a little closer in proximity.
I can be around there in 20 minutes.
You certainly can.
I have a lasso.
I absolutely believe that you do, Dom. You probably do, don't you?
I have a plethora of lassos.
I got a couple of whips.
Welcome to GAAYS in Space. Well, we have plenty of cameras, so you guys do what you're gonna do, and we'll just...
I invite any of the attendees to follow up on the whips with questions later on. just saying.
Fair enough.
So let me introduce you guys to our GAAYS in Space team that we have here tonight. We have Walt. Walt is making sure that everything runs as well as possibly can be expected. We have two co-hosts with me tonight who are going to be asking some questions. We have, GAAAYS, whose name up there is Jay Janeway. I see what you did there, handsome. Okay. And we also have Drew Malone from, I have to plug your place of employment, man. Star Trek, the original, the set tour up in Ticonderoga. Drew is a tour guide there.
Is that where they make the pencils?
They used to.
Basically.
Right? And we also have Hugh Tipping. He is the man who basically explained to us how the hell Zoom works. So he is here
right now, apparently.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yep. So he's here kind of in an overseeing kind of capacity to make sure things go the way they're supposed to. And of course, we have the first gentleman of GAAYS in Space, Mr. Richard Hart. Rich, turn on your camera, you handsome devil.
Hi.
Rich is basically the one I blame for anything that goes wrong, because that's
why
love.
he just disappeared. Visually.
I hide in my cave.
Yeah, I had in my cave from him.
It's funny. Some little white icon comes up when he comes on. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, not for you.
So guys, tell me, how are you dealing with, you know, the isolation and what's going on? What have you been doing to keep yourselves busy, entertained? Dom, I know you've been wearing a wetsuit quite often recently.
A lot. Yeah.
A lot. So yeah, tell us what you've been, what you guys have been up to.
Well, I've been surfing crazy. I was in the water. I paddled out at 6 a.m. this morning. And I went yesterday too. I've been 3 days in a row and I am rinsed, let me tell you. And I don't know if you can see, but I took a nasty boo-boo today.
Oh, you did? Look at that. Oh, look. Oh.
Yeah. I duck dived under a wave and hit a sandbar pretty bad. Yeah. So,
It wasn't last night in the alleyway in Hollywood?
Well, it just added to it.
Yeah.
You mean you weren't defending orphans, Dom, from like a predator? Like you didn't step in and save a bunch of lives? That's what I would have guessed.
Well, I think of all my waves of children, and so yes, I was.
I've been moving.
Again.
Yeah. So I've been moving, and I've been getting my son through the final trimester of his 8th grade year. He just graduated actually yesterday.
Right, congrats.
Yeah, and otherwise I have been looking for those great 5-cent deals at Bevmo on the bottle of wine. We all know what that.
Do those ever actually pay out though?
Huh?
How come I'm the last to hear about this 5-cent deal? What's this?
Oh, you don't know about this? Oh, if you
Nope.
do you belong to Bevmo?
Nope.
So if you join Bevmo as a club member, they send you, or you can even look on their website. So you can buy. And sometimes they're amazing wines. You can buy a bottle, and if you buy that bottle again or a similar bottle of price, I believe it's 5 cents, or sometimes $1.
So, almost like the first one's free.
Well, yeah.
The kind of dealer I like.
Right.
Connor, I'm surprised, man, because I knew of that deal. I could never have explained it in that exquisite detail, though. You definitely have done your research, sir.
Well, I've been there a few times, you know, and also, you know, because here's the deal: when you go online as a member, you then see whatever you buy as a regular price. You can then go for your second choice, and it'll show you, you know, be it Italian, French, you know, American, Spanish wines. You'll see a listing of the ones that are then associated with what you're doing, and it's 5 cents, or it's 5 cents, or it's $1.
Hello?
Huh?
That's pretty incredible. By the way, everyone, Gaze in Space brought to you tonight by Bevmo.
Yeah, hang on a second.
On that deal.
But
But yes, so okay, so other than relocating, are you leaving California?
No, I'm moving about 5 minutes away. I'm leaving the apartment that I'm in and moving into a house.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. And so now you guys have already done a couple of these. Like, this is the whole virtual convention talk thing, you know, really kind of sprang up almost out of nowhere. And now everybody is jumping on board. You've done a couple of these. What's your impression been so far as to how these are, you know, in comparison to, you know, convention?
Well, you don't get laid.
Appreciate the honesty. Yes, that is very, that gets you far, I guess, in space.
And that's all he has to say about that.
That's where the analysis ends, folks. You just
Oh
don't
my.
get laid.
The money all goes to charity. You know, I'm only there for that. Shooting fish in a barrel.
Well,
I got a lot of gays thirsting right now.
Yeah, I don't know what to add to that. Literally, I don't know what to add to that.
I haven't wandered out into the gay herd yet. But, it could happen.
It's a new day. It's a new time.
New day. This lockdown got to me, honey. I tell you. One of you bitches is getting lucky tonight. This is like Grinder on, Bevmo.
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
I think
No.
Bevmo Star Trek Grinder. That's really what I was going for when I created this. Yes,
right?
that's,
And maybe some tacos there at the end.
that would be fantastic. Because you know you're going to have the munchies after a night with Dom. Come on. Like, of course.
To quote Dom, I can be there in 10 minutes.
He's at your door. He's at your door.
What's that? Have you guys seen a British comedian called Joe Lycett? Do you know him?
I've heard.
You want to Google, he does a little bit about finding love as an ISIS fighter on Grindr. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and I urge you to Google Joe Lycett finding love on Grindr as an ISIS fighter. It's hilarious. Death to the West.
Oh, wow. I think we found a new thing
Joe
to binge game.
Huh?
The Joe Lysander.
Joe Lycett.
Set.
Yeah, and it's fine. He poses as an ISIS fighter on Grindr, and it is fucking hilarious. Yeah. One of the guys replies. He goes, "Do you want to blow me?" And he goes, "What building?"
We really shouldn't be laughing in these times.
We
but-
denounce and reject you, Dom.
Yeah.
But you have no choice because that's freaking hilarious, man.
Want to blow?
Well, in all honesty, Dan, I don't know how to add to that, so I'm going to leave that one just as it is.
Completely
By the way-
understandable, man.
My mother always bemoaned the loss of the word gay as William Shatner was singing it. To her deathbed, she bemoaned the loss of that word. We were so gay.
I mean, it still means that. It just,
No, it
people will assume it
It
means
really doesn't.
something else, We're generally a happy folk. It's true.
Oh yeah, sure, but no. Polite folk in England, as it were, just don't use it anymore. It's a dead word now, I guess, isn't it?
It really,
Yeah. Her
It
generation,
is.
they were quite gay.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? A few nights ago, I was watching a rerun of The Honeymooners, with Jackie Gleason, Art Carney, and one of the things, they're trying to do this big scheme, a get rich quick scheme, and the wives are about to come in and see how wrong they were. And Ralph says to Ed, just act it up real gay. As soon as they come in, we got to be real gay. And I just thought, you're halfway there. Yeah, pretty great.
Well, we're all 6'8" gay, really, aren't we? I mean, isn't that
Right?
the statistic? Yeah.
Kinsey, man, he knew what he was talking about. He did. And that totally brought down the roof.
Right.
Well, let's...
That's the 8-second pause in every good
Back to the man with the
conversation.
cowboy hat.
Well, let's, hey, Walt, let's do this. Why don't you queue up the first fan question, the first
I
fan
have a
video
question
question.
first. Hang on, I
Yes.
have a question. Who's cutting your hair?
Mine?
Mine?
You
Oh,
work for GBS?
Nobody.
Yeah, oh, you darling.
Oh, not me?
Dan. Dan's got a haircut.
Oh, me. Yeah, Rich. Rich,
Oh, yeah?
the first gentleman of Gays in Space. Things are so dire, my friend, that I allowed him to go near my news anchor hair with clippers.
Wait, is it
It doesn't define his identity, but I mean, it's a part.
Rich, do you
It's a big part.
Use a Flowbee?
I mean, look at that. That's a good cut.
Remember the Flowbee?
Remember Flowbee? You attach it to your vacuum cleaner. And you
Oh yeah, right.
That's what happened to me. That's why I got discontinued.
You got the Dyson cut. Fuck me, that Dyson's powerful.
We're in litigation now.
All right, question.
Yes. Okay, so Walt, are we ready with the video question?
Sure. Let me, I will promote Nick. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Let me, okay, Nick. By the way, you all can't tell, but I'm like really laughing except my microphone's off. So, you know, there's like 60, 70 people laughing here, but it's, you know, everyone's mic is off, but it's actually a pretty good time. This is great.
Hey everyone.
Hey, Nick.
Nick.
All right, so yeah, I had a question. Probably stupid question. I'm the probably video game nerd of the group, and
I doubt that.
of this group, the video game nerd of this group, like Gays in Space. And I'm a big fan of Star Trek Online. I was wondering, would you two ever end up wanting to add some Enterprise representation on there? Like, we got ships, but the only person from Enterprise that has done anything is Daniels.
What?
Yeah,
Daniel.
the time traveling guy.
What?
Yeah, he's the
The
only
guy
one.
who sold like very soft towels online for commercials. What was his name? He was
Yeah, good actor.
a great actor.
Yeah.
Would
I
we?
saw him recently, I was watching, he popped up. Yeah, he used to pop up a lot, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, none of them are popping up now.
Would we? Of course.
I don't understand the question, actually. What have I got to do?
I'm just saying, would you ever want to do something like that, like represent Enterprise? Because
As a voice actor.
yeah,
on,
as a
on
voice.
on the online multiplayer game.
Well, they never asked us, so I imagine, have they got someone doing our voices? Is that what they do?
No, well, they had a Deep Space Nine expansion where they had most of the cast from that. And do you guys hear? Like,
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
no, I'm hearing like a disturbance every few seconds. It might be on my end. It's
Snap
fine.
every now and then. Dominic keeps going.
Yeah,
It's the whip. It's the whip.
yeah.
It's like this.
Probably not wording this right, but I would just.
But so I'm curious, like if Daniels, who is the character who was from the future in the whole temporal Cold War, which even the writers didn't quite understand, I'm curious, does Daniels like explain what happened in the temporal Cold War?
Yep.
Oh,
Not
he does.
In the game, he does.
Yeah, so like
In
they
the game.
expand on that heavily. That's probably some of the only representation Enterprise gets in it. Like Discovery, they got people from that. They got people from basically every series, but
Well, if we'd had 3 more years, I'm sure he would have done a documentary.
Your documentary is coming, Connor. You know it is.
Oh, I
You know.
feel. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I've been
it's
filming
coming.
here just to get some, footage of just, me being me.
Good. I mean, I may be the one to film the documentary, but your documentary is coming, man. It is. I promise.
I got stories.
Oh,
You're
we
not
know. I'm hoping, Dom, someone else asks about the drag queen signing the underwear story. Because, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm asking. Could you please tell that story? Because I love it.
I was dear Arthur, who I first met in Australia on a catamaran going around Sydney Harbour with about, I don't know, 40 of our favourite Star Trek fans. And yeah, he was totally dragged up. The meanest drag queen you've ever fucking met, I tell you. I mean, just jump down your throat mean. But quite entertaining. Anyway, so sometime later, I mean, it was a few years later, Connor and I were at the big gig in Vegas and on stage. And this guy gets up to the mic to our right and he says, I don't really have a question for you, Dominic, but well, do you remember me? And I was like, actually, I don't, pal, I'm sorry. He said, well, maybe this will jog your memory. The last time you saw me, I was fully dragged up. I went, Arthur! Oh, hello, love. He goes, anyway, question for you, Connor. Do you remember your blue issue little skivvy shorts that you wore in the decon chamber scene in episode 22, season 1? And Connor's like, no. And he goes, do you ever wonder whatever happened to those blue skivvy shorts that you wore in episode? He goes, no. And I said, what happened to them, Arthur? He goes, I'm wearing them. And sure as shit, I got him up on stage and he dropped trowel. He filled them out very nicely, I might add. And yeah, I got him to bend over and I signed the back of his ass, Dominic Keating was here.
See, now that, friends, is a true ally to the gay community. That is what an ally does. Well done, sir. Awesome. Nick, thank you so much for your question, man.
On my ass, too. Do you remember?
What's that?
Well, Connor was signing at a table and I was just wandering around. And so I lined up with the rest of the fans. And when it came to be my turn to get something signed, I just mooned him.
Honest to God, this was maybe my second convention, and it was in Burbank.
Was it really?
Because Burbank used to have a big convention, which they no longer have. And personally, Dom went out immediately and did the first season, and I was terrified. And my first convention, I actually did in Portland, Oregon, because it was as close to my parents' home that I could get to, so I could have my family there, because I had no idea what to expect. But my second convention, I believe, was this one where I'm sitting at the table and I'm signing, and I'm very focused on engaging and signing, and then all of a sudden I see this ass in front of me, and in front of it is this Dominic kind of going like, he's like, will you sign it? And I was like, yeah, of course I will.
I got it for $15 though, so
Yeah, well, you did buy the wine later.
Yeah.
The real question though, Connor, is did you recognize the ass before you saw the face?
Oh no.
No? Okay.
No.
You guys spent a lot of time together. A lot of time together on set. A lot of long days.
We dressed alone.
We did. I'd never seen his fine bum before that.
It was very fine in those days, I have to say.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Another thing I bemoan, the lack of my fine bum. The loss. Yeah.
We have a lot of people texting me right now, reassuring me that it's still just as good. So.
So let's, hey, Jay, how about you go ahead, choose one of those texts for a text question while Walt queues up the next video question.
Okay, speaking of conventions, we have one question from Andrew. He wants to know, since Star Trek Las Vegas has been moved to December, are you guys still planning to go? Because he wants to buy tickets now, but he wants to see if Star's actually going. I know that pandemic's still going on and everything's still up in the air pretty much.
Yeah, I'm going.
This is the Vegas one, yeah?
Yes, moved to December.
Sure.
And it's at Caesars.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Caesars. It's not the Rio, it's Caesars.
All right. So we're risking COVID for Caesars, I take it.
Listen, I risk COVID for a sandwich sometimes.
But of course, Connor, you realize creation is still going to put you up at the Rio, just so that you know.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah. You're staying at the Rio, but we're going to take you over the freeway and drop you off at Caesars.
I was just kidding, everybody. I love creation. Kind of. It's great. I was just kidding. Just kidding.
Remember the Hilton? How great was the Hilton?
Oh my God, so great.
You know,
When
we didn't know what we had, quite honestly, until we got, and no offense to the Rio, until we got to the Rio.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay, Drew, we'd like you to look up the next text question while Walt brings in the next video one.
Sure. Dom and Connor, you both kind of talked about what you've been doing in quarantine. Somebody asked, Andrew Hacia asked, if you have any special projects that you've been working on during quarantine, and what do you want to do after?
I cleaned the gutters. I did a lot of cleaning in the first. I did way too much cleaning. I should have spaced it out. You know, I got it all done in weeks. Yeah, I did the windows, the gutters, repotted all the plants in the garden. Yeah, I was a Tasmanian devil in those first 2-3 weeks. And but no, I mean, I've been staying fit, and I mean, to be honest with you guys, as an actor a jobbing actor at that, who works intermittently, this isn't so different. I just don't get stuff with friends as much as I used to, and but otherwise it's business as usual, really. I know how to fill a day. I stay active, and I like to read a lot, and I do quite a lot of yoga at home, and since they let us back in the water, I've been surfing like a madman, and Connor and I have been out and played golf once already, and we've been to the range, and I think hopefully we'll do that. Can we do that next week, Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I recorded something off the golf this afternoon. The what is it? The Manola Swing Hub Vision thing. They've got a new version of it, and they now follow the plane of the club. I recorded it for you to show you. It's a very good tool.
I don't know what that means, but I look forward to.
Well, the Swing Vision. You see the line of the ball.
Yeah.
Well, now they've worked it out so that you watch the club takeaway, and they follow the club head, like we were talking the other day, and it shows you the whole arc line, and then the comeback to the impact with the ball. And I'm sure the Star Trek fans are absolutely riveted.
They all just went to get a glass of water.
I can hear toilets flushing everywhere. It's like my friend advised me when that G8 concert went on. He went, "Don't try taking a piss when Dido's on, for fuck's sake."
I've been reading a lot. I just by chance had really not spent much time on Netflix, and I've really binged kind of everything I could off of that. And
Have you all watched Hollywood?
Yes, it was amazing. Yes.
Fantastic.
So good.
Very good. Yeah.
The golf. Dom has. I'm new to golf, and Dom has confused me to the 10th degree about what I'm doing. But he's really. Huh?
Are you confused? I thought you sort of had a pretty good understanding of it, and then it does go away. I know you have to sort of then go back and get spoken to again, because I know.
Well, it's the blocks that you have to.
Yeah, the synchronization of the incremental moments in that thing. Anyway, we'll leave golf alone because I stopped watching 24-hour news. Mm-hmm.
I literally,
Yeah.
during this period, I rediscovered local news, and I swear to God, it's been a blessing. Where
Local news is far much better than national news, especially on stations you would normally view as very conservative. Their local channels do better.
The great thing about local news, you get the weather every 8 minutes.
In case you need to know for your golf game.
In case you were worried something was going to happen. 8
And
minutes
I
later.
know where Danielle Gersh lives.
Yeah. 8 minutes later, some porn star comes on and tells you it's going to.
Yeah.
You know what? That sounds like such a happier experience than CNN. It really does.
Oh, it is. And in fact, not only that, it's like, the thing about local news that I rediscovered was that there is happiness in news. There are stories about, it's not just about having talking heads telling you what's happening here and there and giving you the worst possible scenario of what you're all experiencing. You're also getting that somebody has bloomed a special flower in Silver Lake. And you know what? I swear to God, I hold on to those things so tightly.
I didn't know that Gay Space had a news program.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Everywhere.
Only cable access.
Yeah.
Spectrum One. It's Spectrum.
Spectrum One. In other related news, Pink is so back this year.
It never left, darling. It never left. But that, that also, I need to mention the fact that last week's virtual party and this week's virtual party, we are raising money for the ACLU for very obvious reasons about what's happening in our country and our world. And Gays in Space is certainly an organization that wants to do everything we can to create the Roddenberry future that we all wish we lived in. So it's not much because we're little guys. We're little guys, so it's modest.
It doesn't matter.
But
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But we managed to raise between the two nights. We raised $550 that we're going to be donating to the ACLU as soon as Eventbrite gives it to us. So that's something. And as we continue to do these events, we're going to partner with other other nonprofit organizations that are taking immediate action in today's world to try to make things a little bit better. So I just wanted to mention that and to thank everybody who has come to our events and been so generous with your donations. You guys are the reason that this can happen. And Connor and Dom, you guys, the fact that you could be here, that's why everybody else is here. So thank you guys very much.
Absolutely.
All right, time for that next video question. Walt,
okay,
bring it in.
So, all right, so this is for Eric. If you want to unmute yourself and maybe turn on your video if you want. Can I ask a question?
Hey guys.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Okay, so I raised my hand when Dom made the joke about conventions and Grindr like forever ago. So the question I have is now outdated, but I was going to ask, because Dan, I believe you said to make sure someone held up to it. What are your whip names?
Huh?
Whip?
The whips. When you were talking about having a whip at the top of the meeting, you said you've named them. And I was like, what would you name a whip if you had a whip? Assuming you don't, maybe you do.
Lasher.
No. My whip name is also my nom de plume, which is Chip Full Throttle.
It can't be.
I'd buy a whip from Chip Full Throttle.
Amazon has them on sale right now. It's a full throttle whip. It's about $14.99. It's all leather and fantastic.
Oh, that's the price. $14.99.
Oh, man. Oh,
Wow. Lasher and
God.
Chip. I mean, did you guys give each other those nicknames while you were out golfing? To get back on that, I was riveted by the golf conversation, by the way. So,
Oh, good. Thank you.
yeah.
No, I developed my nom de plume several years ago when I went to a birthday party. They have these like indoor go-kart racing things, and they were like, you know, pick a name. And I was just, I might have had a few drinks in me, and I was like, I'm Chip Full Throttle. That's who I am. I'm Chip Full Throttle.
That's almost like a porn star name, isn't it?
It's also that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have no idea the amount of searches that are going to happen on Pornhub following this for Chip Full Throttle.
Yeah.
Just
Following
again, Gays in Space brought to you by Bevmo and Pornhub.
No, that's it.
I love
That's
you
all I
guys.
got. The only other thing is, as someone who works in local news, thank you. A big, like, heartfelt thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate everything you said about that. So that's it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that you're doing this.
Yeah.
Wait, Eric, tell us about where you work. Tell us about your local news.
I actually work in Chicago for the local CBS station, of all things. So, yeah, when you asked about do you work for CBS and does that get you a haircut? Yes and no, it does not in the slightest. So, but yeah, no, we've been, especially as you guys might imagine, lately have been covering a lot of the protests and everything that's going on in the city. I think it was just announced today that our state, Illinois, is got one of the lowest rising cases of the COVID, which is nice to hear. Things are working and looking up in that regard. But yeah, so I personally have just been out of work for the last week or two recovering from a surgery, but I go back in a week. So I'm thrilled that you guys were able to do this while I had the time off.
Well, and take care of yourself, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
so much.
just a reminder, if anyone has any questions for our guests, just please raise your hand and we will promote you to ask a question.
Yes, but before you do that, I'm going to ask everyone to lower your hands because we're going to do a little bit of trivia now. Let's see if Connor and Dom can help somebody out there win some fabulous prizes. Rich, are you ready with the first trivia video? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to show this video, and then I'm going to ask a question. The answer to my question is always in the video. Now, Connor and Dom, if you guys can't answer it, then we will go to the first person who raises their hand and see if they can. Whoever that person is the one who wins.
It's going to be them.
Loses. We'll see. We'll see. All right, Rich, hit it. Okay, but before I even get to the question, Connor, dude, I have to tell you, the line delivery on the second, she's your wife, nailed it, man. Like, that was Emmy quality comedy right there.
Well,
That is still I think, the funniest moment in all of Star Trek Enterprise. Like, hilarious, man.
I tried.
You did it. You did it.
I thought the actual funniest moment in was a poop question, sir.
A poop question?
You don't know this one?
No.
When this girl asks from Earth about what happens on the ship, he's like, well, how do you get rid of the stuff? And he was like, hang on a second. Pause. A poop question, sir? Answer it. To me, that's anyway, but this is second.
Second. Okay, I will take that. Okay, here's the question. Now, people in the participant room, now you can raise your hands and let's see who's going to win something here. All right, so here's the question. What is the name of Phlox's horny wife?
Mrs. Phlox.
You know, you're not wrong.
It's Lucy. It's Lucy. Lucy. Mrs. Seventh Flox's wife, Lucy. It's Lucy.
I think that qualifies as a win. Who was the first person to raise their hand?
Well, the very first person to raise their hand was Eric, who we just had. So I got to play by the rules, and then I guess bring Eric back up. He was quick. He was quick.
You gotta be quick.
But except Elise was right there by a quarter of a second. But
what is it?
He's muted.
Yeah, let's bring Eric back in.
Yeah. What's her name?
Mine, Eric. Hi, I'm Eric.
Yeah, you're Eric. What's her name?
Oh, I thought it was Basil. Did I hear that right?
One more time.
Basil?
Basil.
So close.
No, I'm wrong. All right.
If the B was an F, you were right there.
Basil.
Feasel.
Isn't he a rapper?
Right? I'm right. Yeah, Feasel. You're right.
Feasel sounds like a character from like Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
May also have been. Well,
the third
you know what?
Ratatouille. Feasel.
Right.
I went up for that.
Well, I say you win. So well done, sir. Well done, everybody. Good job.
Actually, a little known fact, and there's a bit of trivia for you. I actually played the wife. Yeah. It was one we pulled on all of you.
Yeah. And he complained every morning about having to get up at 4 o'clock to get all of that prosthetic put on.
Indeed. I didn't mind the tits, but the rest of it.
All seven of them?
Yeah, I kept those tits for a good couple of months, mate.
Worth it. So worth it. Okay, let's queue up the next video question. In the meantime, Jay, the next text question.
Okay, this is from Anonymous. Dom.
Ooh, Anonymous. Okay.
You have a process for that, and did Malcolm have any villain in him?
So I missed the first part. Say again.
This person says that you have played many villains in your career, and it wants to know, do you have any villain in you, or did Malcolm have any villain in him?
Well, I guess I must have. Yes, I have played quite a lot of villains. Yeah, sure. There's a slight dark side to me, which I don't mind going to for ready money.
And the second part was, what was the process? What's your process for playing a villain?
Breaking up.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's acting. I'm always flummoxed when I'm asked about process, because I have one, I guess, but it's not something that I can, tell you step by step what I do. I always remember Gary Oldman saying, well, every part he's ever played starts sitting on his bed at home. And that's pretty much what I've always done. You sit there with the script on your bed and you start reading it and saying the lines out loud and playing around with how you might say it, what intentions you have, why am I saying it? What's my motive for saying this? What's a subtler motive? And eventually I always find it maps out a way through that scene that turns out to be, frankly, for my money, the best way to do it. And that's what I give a director every time until they tell me to do something different. So there you go. Yeah. And look, you can be as villainous as you like, as long as you don't overgild the villainy, and then it becomes slightly, comical or arch. Just make it real, But have I got that in me? Yeah, I've got that in me. Yeah. So I used to think of, I was going to say, I just think of Connor TRINNEER most of the time, and that just brings out the worst in me. And that mother.
I was going to say, if you had a mustache in your real life, every now and then you would twirl it.
Oh,
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, I can't really grow. Well, I did half grow one once, but it wasn't really film worthy. Yeah. It is on film somewhere. There's a couple of parts I played with that. What was it? There was one on CSI. Yeah, that's right. I was a badass villain. That was. I played this hatchet killer. I hatcheted people to death. I was running girls. That's right, and they pissed me off, so I killed them with a hatchet. And a lot of fun that was. Yeah.
Speaking of other roles that you've had, Dom, Dan and I were just watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and watching you as one of the Watcher Counselor goons that got turned into a vampire. You died very convincingly on camera.
That was my first proper job in Hollywood. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, way. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great episode.
So the vampire that they brought in for that episode that I was the watcher of, to put Buffy through her paces in the house, they stuffed her in this. That was Jeff Kober, who ended up playing in our 3rd season on Enterprise. I think he wasn't a Zindi, but he was. I forget what.
Well, yeah. I probably recognize his voice.
He had a recurring role. I think it was our third or 4th season. Anyway, yeah, Jeff Kober. And then I worked with him again on Sons of Anarchy. He's a lovely bloke, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, it was a great episode. Very memorable. Yeah. It was
a seminal episode, and it had wonderful Harris Yulin, who played the guy that sort of put it all together to test Buffy's powers. And he's, of course, he just showed up again in Ozark as the old man in Ozark. That's Harris Yulin. He's a bit of a...
Oh, really? He's fantastic.
He's a legend. He really is, yeah.
He was fantastic in that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a lovely bloke. Lovely actor.
And he also played a Cardassian in one of Deep Space Nine's arguably best episodes, Duet.
Did he now?
And he was absolutely brilliant in that.
Act. He really is. Yeah, he's one of those sort of, just. I mean, I'm not sure they make them anymore like that. So, we'll see. Yeah. Whole thing's changing, isn't it? It's the whole profession's changed. There's so much in the 25, 30 years I've been doing it. It's extraordinary.
Wow. What have you guys? I mean, so many things have changed in the world because of COVID. Like not even thinking about, what has happened since, but just with COVID, so many things have changed. Like I was saying earlier, like this is now a normal thing. Us talking through a screen is a normal thing. How do you guys think that, like once this is done and life can go back to normal, how do you think the lasting effects of what's happening now will impact the acting world and how you guys, do what you do?
That's a tough one, man. I mean, it's going to be rough. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I don't want to be the doom and gloomer, but I'm glad I had my run when I had it, is what I'm thinking, well, frankly. Yeah. God bless. Yeah.
I think that, look, at the end of the day, what you're required to do is tell the truth in front of the camera and tell the truth to your partner. Now, how that manifests itself in this new world, I think, all we do is storytelling. And storytelling has been around since we all gathered around a campfire and tried to figure out why crops failed and the sun rose. And we are a lineage to that. And that will always stay the same in the sense that what we are literally is we're storytellers.
I love that crop failure story. I just think it's one of my favorites.
Well, I could go more into that because, oh Lord.
I can watch that crop failure film a fucking thousand times, I tell you.
Over the roast like rodent. But that is what we do. And so there as technology has expanded in terms of how films are made, TV is made, green screens, what have you. What never changes is the fact that what we are doing is, if we're doing it well, is transmitting a connection in telling a story to other people. So I don't know how that's going to work. I do think that we have to get back to, well, this is going to go not just towards the effort in, television and film, but in everything that we do as human beings. Is we have to talk to each other, and we got to tell the truth. And because if you're not telling the truth, people can see it immediately and they don't believe you. So I think that there is a.
Will they believe it? Will they believe it 1.6 meters apart?
No.
No, probably not.
No, they won't. I swear to God, they won't. I mean, look, one of the things that I have missed so much, I will confess that I hate being alone. I don't like it. I can't stand being alone. I just need people around me. I don't need to talk to them necessarily, but I just need that human energy around me, and that's been one of the things that has been very difficult in this period of time. I think that the people who are meant to tell stories will tell them again. I don't know how, but they'll find a way. It's like mining for gold. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, and occasionally you find something that pays off.
Yeah. Well, I do know one profession that will absolutely suffer after this, and
prostitution.
That is, well, that's always going to be number one on the list. That's always going to they're going to be just fine. No, but barbers, now that I have seen what my boyfriend can do for me,
Get to work, Rich.
spending all that money for, come on now. Yeah, seriously. Thank you, COVID, for saving me that $30 a month. Okay, $30, man. Hey, Manhattan,
And I guess you don't even have to ask him for anything for the weekend, sir.
Exactly. Oh my God. Okay, bring in the next video question.
Anything
You got it. All right, so I'm going to bring on Elise Porcelli. Hope I announced that correctly.
Elise.
So Elise, you might have to unmute yourself.
Italian.
All right. Well, there they go. Okay.
Ah, there we go.
How delightful.
Ciao.
Hi. Wait, so do we ask her? I'm not sure what's happening because it reached.
You can ask your question, say hello, and chat with the boys. Oh, now they froze.
They got paused. So I guess maybe I'll promote someone else until they get that figured out. Oh,
Yes,
there they go.
that's
There they go.
They're
Okay.
back. They're back.
Okay.
There we go.
So my question was for Dom, but I did want to thank Connor for his portrayal of, so I'm an engineer, and I really just enjoyed that he played someone who was thoughtful and sensitive, because we don't always have that reputation. And I really relate a lot to the way you played Trek, Connor. And I really appreciated that portrayal so much. So thank you for that. My question for Dom was, a lot of people, and you may have actually said this at a panel, and I just did not catch that, that your intent had been to play Malcolm as gay. I guess first would be, is that true? And second, there is a very specific scene where you do this eye flick with Hayes, and maybe you didn't mean to, but to me it seemed very telegraphed and intentional. Yeah. Also, please discuss that more.
I remember the eye flick. I'd have to go back with that. Yeah, that's probably just my natural campness coming out, love. No, I mean, no, it was, I mean, facetiously, I have said, yeah, you know, played him gay in the first season. Like, I thought I was the interior designer on the ship. That whole story comes out of, there was an article in TV Guide when we first got going, and I was at my local supermarket just down the road here. It used to be called the Mayfair Market. It's a Gelson's, and it's now officially a Gelson's. And I was standing in line to pay at the checkout, and there were the TV Guides, and we were on the front cover. So, you know, I rather sort of ostentatiously pulled one off and, you know, made a big point of looking at it and let people around me see that I was looking at myself on the cover. And I started reading, and it got to the bit about, and British actor Dominic Keating will be joining the cast. Apparently, turn to page 56, the first gay character on Star Trek? Fuck me, well, news to me. I nearly dropped my sushi, love, I tell you. So anyway, I get home and I ring Brannon Braga, who, you know, our boss, and I said, Brannon. He goes, hey, Dom. I said, listen, love, was just in Mayfair and getting some shopping, and I looked at the TV Guide, and, you know, it says that Malcolm's going to be the first gay character in Star Trek. And there was a pause, and he went, uh-huh. And I went, right, okay. Well, he goes, listen, Dominic, it's going to be great. We're going to out you in November. We're going to put you on the front cover of The Advocate. I went, the what? He goes, you don't know The Advocate? I went, no, I don't know The Advocate. He goes, it's the largest gay publication in the world. And that was when he obviously heard the pennies drop, because I'm an actor. And I'm like, fuck it, I've played Puffs before. This is a big one. This will go viral before viral was viral. And as he heard the pennies dropping, clunk, clunk, clink, clunk, that's when he went, oh, shut the fuck up, Dominic. And then I can't say what he said.
Essentially, he was taking the piss and having you on.
All the way down the rose path with petals everywhere, and then shattered my illusion. Yeah, so, but yes, I have facetiously said that I thought I was the interior designer. Captain Darling. We really must do something about the curtains in the ready room.
For security reasons, of course.
They are so lost, light years away.
Well, you know what's really interesting about that, though, is had they made that choice, Dom, had that been the direction of your character, I personally think there is a decent chance that Enterprise might have stuck around a little bit longer, because that would have shown that the powers that be were willing to push, were willing to take some.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Star Trek does, you know?
They weren't willing to push. And look, you know, I hate bagging on Rick Berman because he gave me the best job of my life. But, you know, he had a formula and he'd done it, you know, 5 times already for 7 years apiece or something. And, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is probably what he was always telling Brannon. Brannon wanted to write the AIDS episode back in Next Generation era, when AIDS was actually, you know, on the street. And when he finally got to write that episode in season 4 of our show, frankly, as commendable as it still might be, it was hackneyed and old and irrelevant. Almost. And that was not Brannon's fault. That was Rick. And Rick was Rick. And Rick was a different generation, and TV was in a very different place than it is 15 years on. I mean, and Paramount, the studio, and the whole mash. You know, we got more notes about how our fucking hair looked than anything else. We hair track.
Just to
full
some
circle.
just
circle
in some
with the hair problems.
But in some quick defense of the writers of Enterprise, you know, there is still a lot of misinformation on HIV, and it is important still to have shows that
I agree.
Destigmatize HIV, and
it would have been a lot more pertinent if they'd done it.
Yes, most definitely. But credit where credit's
yeah.
due.
Hands up. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I agree.
But yes, continue, Elise. I'm sorry, I completely cut you off. Sorry.
What? No, actually, that was pretty much, that was even more informative than I expected. That was the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. I've got a call. Hang on. Hey, Rick. Rick, how you doing? Yeah. Are you watching? Yeah. You do have Dominic's number. Okay. Yeah.
Hey.
All right.
I just offended him.
Enjoy Malibu. Okay. Okay. Great. All right. Bye.
Someone's not going to be in the movie.
I was around his house for brunch yesterday.
Were you?
We're still tight.
Oh, you spent too much time here. Aren't you supposed to do the two fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Elise, thank you
And I
so
don't
much.
remember, there was an eye flick to Steve Culp.
There's one episode, so I'm watching it again with her because she actually.
I've never actually watched it.
This is Ted.
I've seen all the other Star Treks except for Enterprise. So
Welcome.
it's our lockdown marathon. And I definitely was the one that called it out. Was you guys were having an exchange and you did this thing where like you're looking at his eyes and then you look down at his lips real quick and then look back at his eyes. And definitely to me, I was like, are Malcolm and Hayes gonna be a thing? And yeah, so that's what we're.
I didn't have the heart to be like, nah, that dude's gonna die in like 2 episodes. Spoiler alert.
To be fair, though, my understanding is that is how straight boys bond. First you fight, and then you...
Absolutely! Yeah,
you know, the other.
The other.
Yeah, but he died, so they couldn't do that.
Oh, that's what they always do. They're always purging us.
Every time.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Lots of love.
Awesome. You know, let's bring up, hey, Rich, let's bring up the next trivia question. Sure. Because if I'm remembering right, this might play into exactly what we were just talking about. Like, I just thought that was one of the cutest moments between you two boys. I thought that was just adorable.
I remember that being well. Yeah, we were funny.
It's nice to see. I haven't seen these in quite a long time. It's nice to see some of these things.
God, we were gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
You say that like you're not.
Wait till we get to the clips when you guys are running around in your underwear, because I promise you, we have them. So, yes.
Okay, here you go.
Press record. Press record.
Yeah. See, I'm in my Kurt Russell period, so I'm not going to be.
Okay, here's the question. What was the crew member's name that Trip was giving Vulcan neuropressure therapy to?
Lucy.
She got around, didn't she? That Lucy.
Yeah.
Not a clue.
Amanda.
Yes. Yes. Amanda Cole, right? Yes.
Oh.
Bam, there it is.
Yeah.
Well done. All right, Walt, who raised their hand first?
Okay, so we have a winner here, and it's Amy Lynn Davis. I'm going to bring you on. Amy, you might have to unmute yourself. You might see a button there, a pop-up. But let me know if you have any problems.
Amy!
There we go. All right, there we go.
Hi.
Hi, Amy.
I won.
You won.
Oh,
Yay.
and I can see my eyes. Okay. Hi, Dan. Hi, Red.
Hello, Amy Lynn. How are you?
Hi, those two lovely girls, women, the friends there. Hello.
So, did you know, were you very familiar with this episode prior to?
I actually think they showed it on H&I just a couple of days ago, and the other one too. And I hadn't seen the Enterprise shows in 10 years or something. And I was just, I really am enjoying them this round. I'm getting more out of them than I did before, and I think some of you guys know, Rich knows partly why, and I think it's really kind of a good healing thing. So yeah, it's good.
Good for you.
That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Darling.
That's great. And I think, guys, you've heard that, I would imagine, from a lot of people where perhaps on the first run of Enterprise, they might not have been either watching or really getting it, you know, like understanding it and getting it. But now in the age of binging, when we can watch one episode to the next to the next, all of a sudden there is newfound love for Enterprise.
I think that Netflix, when they introduced the show, really gave us a big boost. You know, we suffered from our particular network's scheduling, where, for instance, a very good example of this is that, you know, Scott is from the St. Louis area, and you know, they would preempt St. Louis Cardinals baseball games.
Yeah.
You know,
we get bumped in Texas for fucking Friday night, you know, football.
Yeah, we'd get bumped for stuff, and so it was difficult for people who really wanted to watch it, and for those who were kind of interested, it just became, you know, that much more work, and probably just sort of were like, whatever. And to have it, you know, launched en masse on Netflix, and then obviously CBS All Access, I think really did us a great service as a show. And you know, we were reintroduced to the fans and new fans.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I have always maintained that the third season of Star Trek Enterprise is as good, if not better, than every other season of any other show. At that point, you guys hit your stride. You had a point of view. You knew what you were saying, and you had a message, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing.
Season 3 is where season 3 is where I really developed my appreciation for the show, and you know, you know, it really too bad that you know, it ended before I think it was due.
Well, I've begun to say this recently, that you can't watch our show without having the narrative of 9/11 surrounding.
Yeah.
So if you watch our show without that sort of influence, you're not getting our show.
Right.
That happened. What were we, Dom? We were 3 episodes in or something when that happened.
Yeah.
And
a huge turning point.
A huge turning. It literally changed our show. It changed our show in
that and 24. You know, I mean, Hollywood, and they saw the success of this, you know, arc throughout 4 episodes of the show. So they combined, you know, they had their 9/11 allegory as a 24 through arc through a whole, you know, season of episodes that sort of stood alone, but if you watched them all, it had a full story.
Yeah.
And that was very, very new. I mean, it was extraordinarily new.
And you do have to watch the show couched in that reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get it.
Yeah. I mean, I have always said to people who claim to be Star Trek fans, but say, "Oh, but not Enterprise because of the song."
Right.
It's like, all right, you know what?
Oh, I love that song.
Just don't listen to the song.
I like the song.
Who cares?
Boring.
Who cares?
It's a huge point of contention between Dan and myself because I actually like the Enterprise song and I think it's great, but
I don't dislike it. All right, that's it. We're getting a divorce now.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I never said I disliked it.
And by the way,
But
Diane Warren, one of the greatest songwriters of all time.
Yeah.
It's just people would argue, not me, maybe me some days. People would argue that great song, just not what should have been in the intro for a Star Trek series because, guys,
fast forward for 45 seconds.
Oh, that's all you have to do, exactly. But I forget who it was who told me this story, but someone told me a story where a producer from CBS came to the powers that be at Enterprise and said, you know what we really need?
Tell the story.
Oh, you know what I'm about to say.
I know exactly what you're about to say. Dom, tell this story about what one of the executives from CBS came, what was our second year, and said what we needed to have happen in the mess hall.
That was, I'm going to get another phone call. Dawn Ostroff.
Don, hang on a second. He'll call you back.
that was one. Dawn Ostroff, who was, Les Mumbus had put Dawn in charge of UPN to try and bring it back from the doldrums. And one of her bright ideas driving into work one morning was to try and get a younger audience interested in our show. In order to do that, why not put some boy bands in the mess hall scenes? Oh. Yeah! Can you imagine the tambourine? And we're all there, and then there's fucking McFly playing their latest single in the background. Fuck off. God.
Out of sync.
You drive a
Oh
fucking
man,
force
it was like,
battle.
had those people ever seen the show? Like,
another classic was, this is a true line. So, does she have to have pointy ears? Yeah, I'm not kidding. Replied, that is true. It was okay. Oh, well, she's a Vulcan. But she'd be so much prettier without the ears.
Can we get a tighter dress while we're at it? Yeah, right.
Yeah, for that fucking nugget.
You know, we were really kind of the end point where the idea that, you know, if you were a fan of Star Trek or if you were supportive of it, that it wasn't cool. It couldn't be cooler now. I mean, it couldn't be cooler now. If you're a Star Trek fan, man, you know, they're coming out of the woodwork, you know. But at that time, it was this kind of like, well, how do we fix it?
Yeah, we were in this. How do we fix it? Yeah. I think we've all got to thank the Big Bang Theory in Norman.
Yeah,
agreed.
They made Trek and nerd cool. God bless you, Chuck Lorre. Yeah, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And I think that fans, you know, the more that fans start to hear what you guys were up against, like between action and cut, all the stuff that was going on around you, the fact that you guys managed to produce the product that you did, and again, I still say, Season 3, one of the best. Season 4, you guys were so like on it with the idea of 3 episode arcs here and there. You were telling more complicated stories, more interesting stories. It is a real shame that the world will never see seasons, 5 through 7, because you guys absolutely deserved it.
Well, but what you're getting now is probably a reflection of that. You know, what you're seeing now is a reflection of the way in which our show began to make television.
Okay, I get you now. Yes, absolutely, I agree. I think we were quite modern for our day. Yeah.
Well, our member Nick said that there could be a huge demand for enterprise cameos on all these online games. So maybe we should ask our.
Here's a funny thing. There's yet to be a Star Trek cameo on any of this. On
Really?
any shows.
I think that's a great opportunity.
Yeah. Has there been anyone?
No.
Not that I heard of.
Right.
All right. Get on it, attendees.
I'm not busy right now. I'm not busy.
Well, I think, Connor, you know, Rich's favorite thing to do with me is to give me an impossible task. So I think that was directed at me to make it happen somehow. I have also been directed to resurrect Leonard Nimoy to be on a show with us.
Well,
and
let Leonard go and do the other one.
Okay. Fair. Amy Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your win.
Oh, thank you. And have a lovely time, everyone. I don't even know what kind of time it would be, but I hope it would be lovely, whatever it is.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Stay healthy, Amy.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Awesome. All right. Drew, do we have another text question?
Yeah, one that's pretty cool. This is for both of you. Johnny Beal asked, do you still keep in touch with the other Enterprise castmates?
No.
Screw those guys.
Dominic and I are really good friends.
Only the two of you, though.
I mean, you know, whenever I see Billingsley, we're going to see him tomorrow on a virtual convention. We see Anthony every now and then. You know, Scott is busy. It's not to say that, you know, I don't enjoy their company and all that, but in terms of, look, in your life, you get rare opportunities in experiences through work or, I don't know, through friendships of other people to meet someone who becomes, you know, a lifelong friend. And, you know, I got lucky. I mean, I met Dom, and Dom and I have been dear friends, God, for Jesus, 20 years.
Yeah. God bless.
One of the other questions that we actually had was, did you guys know each other before Enterprise, or did you meet on the set?
Well, so
he always says we'd met because we lived in the same. I still live in the same area, and
he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember this.
I was a bit of a lush in those days, and I was hanging out down the street.
Yeah. So we were at this
apparently I met
we were at this bar called Birds one night, which I frequented, and Dom was a legend on that block. And one night I was out with friends. There were, you know, a couple of guys and a few girls, and Dom was wearing this like lime green t-shirt.
Oh, I remember that.
We were, you know, it got to be late at night, and we probably had we had imbibed a bit. And usually at Birds, you know, the dancing started around 12 or 1. And I remember Dom kind of like, you know, coming into our party, and we were all just dancing together around this table. And he doesn't remember this, but I remember it very clearly that, you know, when I wound up meeting him with work, you know, I even said this to him, I think. I was like, I've met you.
Oh, no, not another one. Was it at Birds?
Yeah. I think he might have stood on a table once or
Oh,
twice.
yeah. I made $16 stripping on the bar at La Poubelle up the street.
That's a true story.
$16, Dom. Thank God Enterprise came around, huh?
Oh, you can make more of that in a night.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Fixture.
Wrong part of town.
Yeah.
Wrong part of town. You could have made a lot more money.
And, you know, I'm sure everything is going to be just fine. But if you need to know where that right part of town is, Dom, You have friends here at Gays in Space. We can direct you, and you'll be just fine.
Head west, young man, head west.
To find your gay fortune, yes.
Is it bag for me?
Yeah.
I still got the shorts. The bum cut out in red piping. Yeah, I still have those. They're in my attic in my flat in London.
You're wearing them right now.
Oh, all right then.
Here it comes. There it is. I think you might have just created a new type of Enterprise cosplay for fans who are watching this right now. Yes.
Yeah. We were called,
cool.
I love that we were called, it was my idea, we were called Feelings Mutual. Great. Yeah, me and a black queen I met in my dance class at Pineapple. Yeah.
Woo, okay,
Yeah.
we're going to another quick trivia question. Rich, play the next trivia question.
No, I've got more to say.
I had the flu during that scene.
Did you?
And they had a garbage bin right next to that. So if I had to get sick, I could get sick.
Were you throwing up in that scene?
I wasn't, but I was really close the entire time. I remember that.
No, I actually, looking at that scene, I don't honestly remember it.
Well, I remember being sick.
All right. Sorry, I had to plug in. My battery was about to go on my phone, so I've had to plug it in. Now I'm holding it.
Yeah,
So
I was a little pukey.
Well, you look sick. I mean, there was a good sheen on you, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, I was not. That was probably the sickest I was on our entire show.
And that must have been one of the Mirror Darkly episodes, I take it. Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't like. I don't like. The funny story behind, I'll tell you the funny story behind that. So the Mirror Darkly episodes happen, and the first one's being directed by Jim Conway, who directed our pilot episode. And
I'm sorry, Connor, can you hear me at all? Okay, you can hear me. Great, awesome. I'm just keep talking. We're just going to debug something real quick.
So
now, do you mind, chaps, while you tell the story, can I go and have a pee?
Sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
You've already showed your ass. You might as well just do it here. So I come in to the first scene. I believe it's the first scene shot of those two episodes. And Jolene is wearing this, kind of cut off thing, and her hair is all sexy and her ears and stuff. And I've got that actual piece was Captain Pike's piece they used for him in the original episode when he was, all burned. So they regenerated that and put that on me. And so I walk in, already I'm like, oh God, come on. So I walk in and we do a rehearsal for the camera. And I do what I think is appropriate for how I look and this whole mirror universe thing. And Jim Conway says, he goes, Connor, you just do more. And I said to him, I go, you mean like a pirate? And he goes, yeah, try that. So he's like, let's shoot it. I come in and I'm like, arr, 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 arr. Cut, print. And I was like, wait a minute, I was kidding. And he was like, no, it's perfect. Well, what that meant then, of course, that I had to match what I had just done, which I thought was a joke in the character. So every scene after that, I was kind of like, oh, hang on a second. Arr, arr, arr. Okay, go. Arr, 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 arr. And that's why I've never seen them since they aired. I just did not. I thought what I was doing was just absolutely ridiculous.
I loved it.
I could tell when you were at the console going, ha, ha.
have another question. I think we lost Dan.
Unmute.
Yeah,
Am
so
I back?
Dan seems to be having some technical difficulties. Dan, if you're there.
Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just can't see you, but we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm just, Rich is still working on my technical difficulties, but I think that both Jay and Drew are such great fans of Enterprise, they can come up with the question for that trivia video, and I'm going to leave it to you guys. I'll be back soon. Love you.
I don't think that's fair.
That's okay.
You're on the spot.
It would be, so what admiral did Archer think you were working for?
Lucy. Admiral Lucy.
That Lucy, man.
Yeah, she gets around, man.
By the way, Jay, that was exactly my question. Well done.
I don't
Great
know.
minds.
Forrest.
No. Good try.
Who is it?
Well, do you want to let the trivia person who raised their hand?
If it's not Lucy.
Oh, okay. So the first person that raised their hand was actually Quill. Should I bring them up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I was getting frozen too, so it's like this big freeze going on. So if I missed out on something, I apologize. All right, Quill, you might have to unmute, but you should be good.
Hi.
There you go.
Well, I definitely thought it was Forrest also, and I even wrote it down. Like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, that sounds like it might be a trivia question.
Well, so you're wrong too.
So I guess I was wrong, but like, I feel like I'm not wrong.
Was it Blackwell or was it Forrest?
You know, Jeopardy.
I feel like I'm pretty sure it was Forrest.
Hey,
but
Quill, Jeopardy doesn't work that way. I'm sure I was right, even though you said I'm not. But
I know you said I'm wrong, but like, I'm pretty sure that I was right.
You know, just for the confidence alone, Quill, I think you've just won. Because that, yeah. The answer though is very mirror universe, Admiral Black.
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't even remember that Admiral Forrest was an admiral, and I like wrote it down in my notebook, so I just heard it wrong.
He was
So,
like the only one. Admiral Forrest is like the opt-out answer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I recognize it now, but then I was like, anyway. So I just heard it as Forrest because I definitely heard that.
Admiral Lucy Forrest.
And Admiral
Yes,
Lucy
obviously.
Quill, what do you win? You win $50 off at Safeway.
Or a $5 wine at Bevmo.
5 cents.
Five
It's 5
cent
cents.
wine.
5
I
cents.
got 5 cents, so that's not a problem.
My bad.
Yeah, you got to come over to LA.
I don't even know what that company, Bev.
Listen,
whatever.
apparently Bevmo should contact me.
Bevmo. Yeah,
for-
we don't have. I don't know what that is.
It's the greatest place on earth.
I actually did a Google search for Bevmo Star Trek because I thought I was like maybe like not in on the joke, but nothing showed up. So I'm just going along for the ride. But
By the way, my dear friend Walt, right now, he is the Star Trek virgin of the group. So a lot of times you have to stop and explain, you know, what we're talking about, you know, in this cult of ours.
I will admit that on some of the videos, I'll see someone that looks like Dom, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, he looks just like the guy who's in attendance right now. So, you know, but yeah, this is new. This is new to me, but I'm starting to pick it up.
You're doing great, Walt.
Can I? Now that I'm here, can I ask a question?
Of course, please.
I just snuck my way in there. Anyway.
Do it.
First of all, I'm Quill. Hello. It's nice to meet you. I use they, them pronouns also, just for everyone's information. Okay, I have Well, first of all, this sort of is relevant to what we were talking about before, but part of what drew me to Star Trek is Roddenberry's dream for the future. And as a young queer viewer, it's hard to miss the lack of gay in Star Trek until very recently. And so obviously we sort of joked about that earlier, but I was wondering if that's something that like cast and crew members were aware of, that was a problem that needed to be fixed, and if there was any conversation about that.
Not at our time, no. I would have said not. It was before our time. I mean, in the consciousness like that, I have to say, we were still, you know, on the other side of that. We're very much, yeah. Maybe if we got to season 7, that might have, you know, that could have happened. It was certainly, there was a shift. Obviously in season 3, and then again in 4 when they gave the reins of the show to Manny Koto, and they let Brannon just oversee stuff. And I mean, he'd run this show for 16 years, pretty much 17, and. But no, sadly not. It would have been deemed at that time just way too out there and risky. We were still, in their mind's eye, we were still appealing to a very broad audience that you didn't want to offend in any way.
By like having women in pants and so on.
We were trying to get sci-fi out of the closet, not people out of the
closet.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And as I say, you know, I said earlier, they had a recipe, and it had worked, you know, pretty well. I mean, Rick Berman's tenure and his, you know, he ran what, 4 shows back to back, 7 years. That's never going to be done ever again in the history of TV.
You also have to understand that as actors, unless you're the star of the show, in regard to the structure, we don't have any power.
No.
Right, but do you talk, but like, I don't expect that you have any say over it, but are you aware of it?
Well, yeah, but yes, I was aware. And like I say, when Brannon told me that, you know, when he ribbed me, I was like, fuck it, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'm down. God, one of my breakout jobs was at the Edinburgh Festival playing a gay character with Tim Spall, and I remember then we got sort of critiqued that neither Tim nor I, who were playing these 2 gay characters in this big, hard-hitting play, neither of us were actually gay. And I always remember, Tim, we got hit hard with a journalist question, and Tim just looked at the guy and went, "Do you know how many gay guys play married guys in TV films and plays? You know, come on, people."
Yeah.
And now we have got to a point where if you're going to play a gay character, the likelihood is they're going to cast a gay actor.
Or they're going to make sure you go to gay camp, which is another way of doing it.
Well, darling, if you've been an actor as long as I have, you've been at camp a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I refer you back to, we're all 6/8 gay, honey. Let's face it. You know.
But you know, there's also in talking about that, the Rick Berman years, they really are the golden age of Star Trek. They are. But the thing that I think is most memorable about it is that if you happen to be a show or a season of a show where it wasn't the biggest deal and they didn't pay attention to you, that's when you got to push boundaries. Deep Space Nine, they didn't care about. They were like, we got TNG and the movies, and then we got Voyager, and like DS9, go ahead, do what you're gonna, whatever. With you guys, by the time you got to season 3, they were like, ugh, we're done with these guys, just fine. And you guys got to do the best work of your run because they stopped nitpicking and obsessing and trying to get you to have boy bands in the mess hall, for God's sake.
I have a nitpick. I have a nitpick to make about Enterprise. This is my like. I always bring this up. I think it's very weird. I wonder if you have an opinion about it. Okay, there is an episode where Trip goes and like is engineer help for some alien ship, right? And then they go into the little holodeck thing and put their hands in the whatever, and
Or
then
got pregnant.
and they get pregnant. Okay, so that's fine. That's interesting. Okay, what is weird is that you grew nipples on your arm in order to care for the baby. But here's the thing, is that men already have nipples. You don't need to grow new nipples. They're already there.
Yeah, but they're male nipples. They're not female nipples.
They're fake.
But Quill, if you showed my nipples, that's a whole other episode.
But that does happen in other episodes.
That's the greatest
like I say,
nitpick I've ever heard.
I refer you to our slightly plodding nature. You know, we were still stuck in an era of TV making when we were making those shows. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, we hadn't gone over the line.
I still have them. Just so you know.
Good. Handy. It's handy to have a few extra.
Yeah. Sometimes I think it's allergies, and I'm like, oh, it's not.
It's that nipple. That goddamn outstanding stuff.
Awesome. Quill, thank you so much. Congratulations on your win. We're going to send you even more fabulous stuff. Thank you.
Yeah,
guys, I thank you, Quill. I have a question for you about the because we mentioned it in the opening tonight. You guys really are a fan favorite duo. Going to conventions, when people get to see you two together and get to see you do your, like, because you truly are friends, and there's a banter between you guys. There, you can also, you know, you can carry a tune. So when you host a karaoke night, people are enjoying themselves and it's fantastic. Can you talk about the experience of kind of being seen as, you know, you're a bit of a package deal, even though they didn't do the package deal photo, which I still don't quite understand, but you guys really are kind of this duo that everyone looks forward to seeing together. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean it's just a natural phenomenon, isn't it? I mean we gel well, and we are like the odd couple, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're funny together, you know, and we give each other space. It'll be your turn in a minute. Hang on.
Rick is going to call you back in a second.
All right, you're on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that people like to watch people who like each other. You know, if you're supposed to be a team or a duo, or, you know, I mean, you can make a list of duos throughout, I don't know, television or film history that, like, you know, some didn't like one another and they were great on film, but, you know, most of them did. And I can only speak for us, like, what works, and Dom said it well. We like each other, we love each other, and we're very different. We're very different people, and you know, we have, you know, we accept that about each other, and we tease each other about those things. And but at the end of the day, I mean, you know, I just care deeply for my friend, and I think that when I get the chance to be with him, we are honest,
yeah, on
stage, in front of people, together. And we happen to be really, really funny.
Yeah, there is that. We're quick.
Yeah. We play off each other very well. You know, we do. We play off each other very well. And I think that
and strangely not Jewish.
You're not?
No. I know. With a name like Dominic, you'd think immediately he is Mr. Passover. But no, and with this wit and shtick.
But you know, it's so true, because when people go to conventions, the reason they're going is because they want to be amongst their people. Like, we want to spend time with people who care about the things we care about and who love the things that we love and know the nitpicky things that we all know. And when we get to see a pair like you guys who do truly care about one another, and like, it's not an act. Like, you guys are not acting. You're wonderful actors, but you never need to do it in the convention setting. And I think you really kind of give people exactly what they are there for, which is that feeling of camaraderie and love and understanding.
Dan,
So
Dan, thank you, Dan. I'm acting my ass off right now, let me tell you.
I think also to add, you know, to piggyback what you're saying, is that one of the things that also maybe be attractive to that is that you get to see us as people. You get to see us, and you got to watch us as those same people playing characters. You know, we were the odd couple on the show. And you know, and you get to see that as Martin and Lewis, who actually
something like that. Yeah, let's not get too highfalutin, but yeah.
One of the funniest episodes is Shuttle Pod 1, where you guys are stuck together in the shuttle part, and the chemistry and the comedy and the episode. Amazing. Thank you.
That's a great episode. It's one of my favorite things I ever did in front of a camera ever.
Yeah.
Trip trying to get some sleep is hilarious.
Well, you know what? We actually, perfect segue. Rich, play the trivia video from Shuttle Pod 1, because you guys know that we had that ready to go. Rich, play it.
By Bevmo.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 cents. 5 cents.
Do you know, I bumped into David Livingston about a week ago up Beachwood.
Oh, yeah, you said.
Yeah. Yeah, he's completely white hair now. Amazing. A long time ago.
That episode, yeah.
Yeah, he directed that.
He has hair? He has hair?
Oh, he has. Oh, yeah. A lot of was a shock of white hair, like, you know, sort of Republican politician white hair. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe a better descriptor would be a you know, an intelligent professor white hair.
Right. Yes, that too. Yeah.
A learned man. Yes. But you know, guys, one of the things I love about that scene, and I mean, and that episode, was that you guys were the pair of, like, I mean, Trip was a genius as an engineer. Malcolm was a genius when it came to military tactics, armory, all of that. But when you two got together, you got super silly about, like, I want to touch a booby. Oh! And it was just so, I found personally so endearing for both of your characters that we see as these intelligent, learned, amazing people. When they get together, man, they just want to touch a boob. I'm just going to leave that out there for you to comment
on. Sure. You know, what's wrong with that? You know, straight men like boobs. At least this 6'8" straight gay man does. And and it was a fun scene to shoot. And I fought David Livingston to act that drunk. I think it still works. I think they needed to be that drunk, because he wanted to do it sort of halfy, drunky, not much. And I went, you know what? They've drunk a lot of fucking scotch here, and they should act really fucking trolley.
They're dying.
And,
They're dying.
Huh?
They're dying.
Yeah.
And they're dying, exactly. And exactly, there's a certain sort of insanity that kicks in, isn't there? And I think it worked. I think we hit the right level, the right note there. And I think it still stands up. I do. I just see, because I haven't seen that scene in a long time.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's pretty good. It's touching. It's funny. It's real. I love your sort of demureness at the end when then you finally toast, but there's a certain reserve that you can't go all the way with my leshiness, as it were.
He's a bit bashful.
He's bashful, and you know, and the fact that what's my character, Malcolm? You've never seen Malcolm with his hair down like this, yeah, it's got dimension. Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole episode, the build up is how you're both of your characters are dealing with your impending death.
Yes.
And Malcolm is so serious, and I'm gonna write letters, and I'm gonna tell people what. And Trip is just like, fucking go to bed, man. Like, just let me sleep. And then finally, thanks to the booze, everything gets stripped away, and the true nature comes out, which is like, you know what? Let's talk about that attractive lady that we have both noticed for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I just think it was so honest and, again, just so endearing seeing you guys.
It was a really,
like
really
that.
well-written episode. I mean, I take my hat off to Brandon because there was good stuff. I think that and one called Cogenitor were the two best episodes we ever did. They were really good TV. Yeah. Yeah, very proud of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, here's the question. Everybody, get ready. Hands down. And now, here's the question. What were they drinking? Guys, what were you drinking?
Well, it was a bottle left there for the captain, wasn't it? And
it was bourbon.
It was bourbon. It wasn't scotch. It was bourbon. Yeah,
It was
Kentucky
bourbon.
I think.
Yes. Well done. It was bourbon.
No, you can't call bourbon unless it's made from Kentucky.
Yeah. Oh, is that right? So
otherwise, it's whiskey.
Yeah.
Huh? Otherwise, it's just
Otherwise,
American
it's whiskey.
It's whiskey.
Bourbon it's like champagne. Bourbon is only made in Kentucky.
In Kentucky, right.
Okay, so I have the winner here. Should I announce?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is Kimberly Capel. So Kimberly Capel. You might have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Hi.
Hi. San
How are you?
Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, that's my tutoring background for when I do. Been doing a lot of tutoring during the pandemic with end of school year and stuff. So.
Is that the Golden Gate? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great background, no matter where I'm at. Tutoring.
I just read a fantastic line about San Francisco in a book I'm reading. The guy's mother says that San Francisco is like an old folks home for young people.
That's great. That's great.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah,
I'm going to use that forever. Like an old folks home for young people.
That's amazing.
All right, Kimberly.
Hey. Yeah, I did get razzed when I moved to Florida. I'm from the Midwest, and I moved to Florida in my 20s. And people were like, well, shouldn't you be retiring to Florida, not moving to work in Florida? I'm like, no, I want warmth. Because I had to drive home from Florida through a 100-year snowstorm. So I was in Florida on vacation, and I drove home to the Midwest, and here I am driving through a 100-year snowstorm thinking to myself, why did I leave Florida? Because it's warm.
Where in the West?
Near Chicago.
Nice.
Very
cold.
Cool.
Yes,
cold,
it was
yes.
cold.
Oftentimes, yes.
Yes.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, it was a good drive though. It's about 2 days if you do it right. And if you can plan it, you stop somewhere in the Tennessee, Kentucky area.
For the bourbon.
Or the Bevmo, if there happens to be
That's
one.
right. Frankly, there's no other reason to go there, darling. There really isn't.
That's awesome. Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Thank
awesome.
you so much. So we have, guys, every week that we do these virtual celebrations, we try to make them as close to an actual Gays in Space party as we can. And one of the things that happens at a Gays in Space party is there is always a killer musical performance. So if you guys can stick with us for a couple more minutes, I would really like to show you our, it's not live, it's live to tape, Trek-inspired musical duet by our very own Kira Knotts and Nathan Bonk.
Awesome.
Rich, play it.
Pitch for a bigger view.
Star Trek can show you new worlds, a universe full of splendor, space stations and starships. What's better than this staggering franchise? Trek can open your mind, show us hope for the future, exploring space and embarking on a brand new enterprise, finding new worlds, a Roddenberry point of view. Ethics will lead the way. I cannot wait to say we're boldly going.
Explore new worlds, new galaxies to travel through. A premise light years ahead, but I'm coming red. And red no longer means your fate is
Red no longer means you're gonna die.
The species now in our sight. Planetary alliance, transporters and warp drives, sheer science, and the heart to do what's right. Let's change the world.
Trek's on TV tonight.
A lifetime
Which
preaching
episode are we
big ideals.
watching?
I like a Vulcan named Spock and my Earl Grey heart. I can't go back to shows I
Forget
cannot feel. Every series 5 stars.
I need some Starfleet
Every cast
in
is
my
amazing.
life. We know it inside out. Take a runabout and let us share this whole new world with you. A whole new world. That's where we'll be.
Con tickets, please.
Heart in the right place.
I need collection space for you and me.
That's as gay as space can get, isn't it?
That's what we try. That is exactly what I strive for, man. But like, just so you guys know, I mean, I'm sure you do, how challenging it is in, you know, self-isolation to come up with not just original lyrics to a song and perform, but the fact that they both did that separately and brought it together. I mean, Kira, I'm still convinced that's just a basement somewhere that they are performing
It's
in.
my apartment's basement.
Oh, good, Kira's here. To be able to edit together that with Nathan, where is Nathan with us? Can we bring
Yeah, I'm
Nathan
here.
in?
I'm here.
Ah, Nathan!
Hey, guys.
Yay! Now Nathan performs his in his apartment in you're like
Washington.
uptown.
Yeah, Washington Heights. Yeah.
Washington Heights. So, and I also have to admit that I give them maybe 5 days. And I'm just like, could you please do something great? And this is what they give me. So
4
like,
days.
Well done.
It was 4 days. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, I was just like, it might not have been 5, but it was something like that.
Yeah, I
the
think.
love I get here, yeah.
Yeah, Dan, you asked me to do it, and then I think I was up until about 2 a.m. with me and my computer. I'm like, I gotta write lyrics. Oh God.
And props to you, Kira, for the like editing it together, because I just recorded mine and sent it to Kira, and
And I did everything else.
yeah, you did everything else. All right, cool.
That's fantastic.
I put in a request for the next one to be the Enterprise theme song. So that's on the record.
We'll get it. We'll get it for you guys. We'll get it.
Well, for Connor and Dom, like, again, you guys have done a lot of the, karaoke nights with fans. I humbly submit that what we do here is a bit above the karaoke level. What would you guys think of watching these perform?
This is gone.
Connor has left the building.
What would you guys think, like, seeing these two perform in front of a Star Trek audience and, giving them something brand new? No one's heard these lyrics before. This is all...
100%. You have to do this.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that answer.
Well, because Connor said so, of course. Yeah.
Done.
And so you should come on the cruise.
They will be
yes.
with us. Yes. Yes.
Listen, I just want to say, yeah, you should do that.
Done.
And you should do it any convention you're at.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully have like a whole slew of songs by that point. Like, we're gonna have a whole album's worth of new stuff by then.
Well, look, if you guys wind up doing that, you can also, through Dan, through me, through Dom, if you've got that kind of stuff, if you want to do a whole, you can have that opportunity to do that. If you have like, a whole show. I mean, look, we all need content, at any convention, so make the album.
Next step, we're headed that way. That's it. Kira, it's on. We gotta do this.
Yes.
Get
they
sprinkling, Kara.
because they will absolutely be with us next year on the cruise. The cruise has officially invited GAAYS in Space back. Yay. And we will have our karaoke night and a bunch of other nights. And we've already set up the new team, and Nathan and Kira were at the top of the newbies list because we need them.
They almost beat me out. Dan's own partner. That's how valued they are. So
he's helpful, but he can't sing.
To come to karaoke cruise.
That is true. I have no entertainment talent. So.
But he does manage to give. He does manage to give everyone a 5-minute tour of our apartment every night, where because our apartment is about a 30-second walk end to end, Manhattan, and he takes you on a tour of it because he can't.
I'm a bit of a pacer, so.
That was 5 seconds away.
Right.
We all exaggerate, Dominic. We all exaggerate.
Where are you, darling?
Like,
I'm in the 7-second room.
We only have 3.
I'm in 1. Where are you? I'm in 3. Is 3 the Kazi? The Kazi / dressing room.
Oh man, goodness. You guys are freaking amazing. Can I just tell you how much we appreciate the fact that, again, I know you're doing these for the big conventions and the this and the that, but the fact that you're willing to take the time to speak directly to us, to our community, it really means the world to us, guys. So
My pleasure.
seriously,
Yeah.
Pleasure.
thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Dan.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
guys.
Thank you.
It's been a real laugh.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
All
You
right.
guys are incredible. I feel bad I didn't get to show you my edited clip of the episode where Trip is running around the ship in his underwear because because let's be honest, your gay fans really appreciated that. Really appreciated it.
Well,
There's no question. It's
I
just
tried.
you
I
walking
tried.
around in your underwear
I
on the
tried.
ship for 2 minutes.
I tried.
You did a good job, man. You did a good job. We love you guys. Thank you again so much. And we will see you very soon, as soon as we're allowed to see other human beings in person.
Right.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
be well, be healthy, care for each other, love each other, and it was fantastic to be able to see faces again.
Same to you, man.
And bless you for having us on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Guys.
Thank you so much, guys. See you
care.
soon. You too. Okay, everyone, who I have to also make a quick announcement for those of you who have been following the Folding at Home project, which is the charity that Rich cued us into, where, oh, boom, there it is. This is a charity that you can contribute to without having to give any money. If you have a computer that is not constantly working for you, you can donate time on your computer to help this organization process the data necessary to find cures for things like COVID-19. This is something that is helping the world find a cure for what we're dealing with. And it's not just COVID-19. They're working on cures for everything that currently is not cured.
Alzheimer's, cancer, HIV research. The biggest diseases. And it's any spare processing time that you have on your computer, everything, every little bit helps. And right now, GAAYS in Space is ranked 98.7th in the world. We are so close.
Our full team.
Our whole team. Yeah, we are very close to being one of the top 99% teams in the world. So anyone that wants to join, it really does make a difference. And you can sleep soundly at night knowing that you are actively helping to find a cure for these terrible diseases.
Yes. And you can also be part of the reason why Rich gets to say to me every night, I told you so. Pretty big, everybody, pretty big. The other thing, two more things I'd like to tell everybody before we go. June 27th, so 2 weeks from today, GAAYS in Space will be welcoming once again one of our favorite people, Mr. Anthony Rapp from Star Trek Discovery and Mary Chieffo, who is just, the hearts to her, it's just insane. So we're gonna have a disco night. Oh, Rich has something to say. Okay, so, but I'm echoing now.
Sorry.
No problem. There we go. June 27th, Saturday night, disco night. Anthony Rapp and Mary Chieffo will be joining us. Next week, we are doing our very first GAAYS in Space Netflix viewing party, which apparently is all the rage. This is what the kids are talking about, so I listen, and we're gonna do it.
It makes it sound like you were born in 1945, Dave. I'm just saying. It's all the newfangled thing these days.
I also don't know a single kid who has actually mentioned a Netflix party to him.
Wait. Kira, you're telling me that my idea of what the kids are talking about is already super old and outdated?
Yeah, babe, that was 30 seconds ago. You got to keep with the times.
That was pre-quarantine ideas.
There
So
was
what
a
do I have to
pre-quarantine?
what do I have to Insta Twittergram something to be relevant?
Always.
This is terrible. I just tell it like it is, folks. Yeah. Anyway, so the first episode we're doing, which we think is very appropriate for our time right now, is Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the first season, the episode Duet, which features Nana Visitor in arguably her finest moment in the show. And that is saying a lot because she shined for 7 years in that show.
And Dom and Connor were just talking about the guest star on that episode and how much of and how talented he is. So we had a big debate about this. We almost went with Far Beyond the Stars because we're like, oh well, it's people are very interested in Black culture and Black cinema, but I don't know. When I really think about my favorite, I kind of like Duet on a personal level. Like Far Beyond the Stars is a great episode of Star Trek and definitely well renowned for good reasons, but not my personal favorite when I think about the ones that I really want to go back and see. So that's why we're doing Duet this time.
That being said, next week we're gonna do Far Beyond the Stars because we should have done it the first. No, I'm just kidding. No, what we were really thinking was that, of course, right now there are actually 3 Deep Space Nine episodes that are just pivotal right now, and it's Far Beyond the Stars and Past Tense parts 1 and 2, because they both deal directly with the nonsense that is happening in our country right now. But we thought, you know what, how about we go with an episode that says it without saying it, because it's Cardassians, it's racism against Cardassians, and perhaps, who knows, maybe somebody watching our viewing party, although I have no idea how someone like this would be into Star Trek, but maybe they could see themselves reflected in something that wasn't them and might affect a little bit of change in the way that they think. That's, so I know that's a very lofty goal. But I mean, that's what Star Trek does. Star Trek is something that puts things in front of people that might not want to see themselves, and yet they do. So we're going to do Duet next week. We are planning some stuff specifically for our pals across the pond in the UK, and we're going to start with back-to-back nights with Past Tense Part 1, Past Tense Part 2. And our Netflix viewing parties are going to be very similar to the viewing parties we did in person here in New York. We're going to start out with some, a little intro video, a little silliness. We're going to watch half the episode. We're going to come back. We're going to do some trivia. We're going to give some prizes away. And there's going to be discussion because these are episodes that are meant to be talked about. So yes, so please join us for those. Rich, what is the people, if you would like to participate in those, all you have to do is respond to the invite on Facebook and the link to join us will be sent to you. Is that right, Rich?
Yeah, they just need to say that they're either going or interested in the event on Facebook, and we will send them the information.
Awesome. Again, we have Anthony Rapp, Mary Chifo, 627. We have plenty of other things planned. Gaze in Space would like to be able to keep you guys smiling at least a little bit every week if we can. So we're gonna try to do our song and dance, guys, and try to make things seem a little bit better, while also encouraging you to do everything you can to actually make things better. Get out and vote. Do I even need to say that, everyone? Vote, vote, vote. Unless you're gonna vote for the wrong person, in which case, stay home.
Sorry, last thing before we go, and I know these announcements are droning on. Again, GAAYS in Space we've been talking a lot with the core leadership of GAAYS in Space, and we are entering a new, we're adding something new to GAAYS in Space, where GAAYS in Space is going to get into a little bit more of advocacy in terms of policies, because, you know, we want to be active. We want to be active in the narrative of the future and active shapers of the future. And so we're going to schedule a town hall about 2 weeks plus from now, while we finalize kind of some of our plans. And then we just want some of your opinions and some of your feedback on what we're going to do. And yeah, I think it's going to be a sprint to make as much change as we can from now to the end of the year, especially right before the election, because they always say they're very crucial, but we all know that this one really counts. So
vote, vote,
yeah,
vote.
All right.
Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you to our volunteers. We cannot do this without you guys. Thank you so much, all of you. You know, we really appreciate it.
Especially to Richard Hart, who is the best volunteer. Oh, that was you. That was you. I'm just kidding. No, I could not, I cannot ever thank you guys enough for all that you do. Like, I kind of had an idea 4 years ago for something that might have been worthwhile. Thanks to all of you, it is, and it continues to be. And every week, I am blown away by the fact that we still are. And again, hopefully we're putting smiles on faces that really need them in this ridiculous time that we are living in. So again, thank you all so much. We love you, and we will see you next week for GAAYS in Space first Netflix viewing party. Good night, everybody.
Keep it gay, keep it gay, keep it gay. Keep it gay, keep it gay, keep it gay.